This video is for the algebra revision solutions on equalities. So in the first question, I've got a linear equality. I simply have to multiply it out and resolve. So I've done my multiplication. Now x is all to one side and numbers to the far side. And I get to the point where I've got minus 8x less than minus 3, but I'm not really overly keen on having this minus out here in front. So what I'm going to do is just times the entire thing by minus 1. And of course, I mustn't forget this will change my signs, but it will also change the direction of my inequality symbol. My solution at the end there for that is x is greater than 3 over 8. No need to draw a sketch for this one. Question 2 next. Question 2 is a quadratic, so I'm going to have to factorise that first. In the normal run of things, if this was an equation, I'd be able to write my solutions down, but I don't know what symbols to use here in terms of inequalities. So I'm going to have to draw a sketch first to establish that. So I've got my roots minus 7 and 2. I want to look at what's below the x-axis because I've got that less than or equals to symbol. So I'm highlighting this section here, and then I want to look at where that is in relation to the minus 7 and the 2. So it's to the right of the minus 7. So the stuff to the right of minus 7. So x is greater than or equal to minus 7. And all the shaded values are to the left of the 2, so x is less than or equal to 2. Question 3, more of the same really, just have to organise my quadratic first. Then I'll factorise. Again, I'm going to use a diagram to write down my roots. This time I'm looking above the x-axis. That's that greater than symbol there at work. And then I look at my diagram and go, okay, well, the stuff that I've shaded is to the left of the minus 1 and to the right of the 5. No equals in this, obviously, because there's no equals in the original question. I'm just glancing back up to the end of question 2 here for a second, just thinking about different ways I can write my answer. So this is fine for question 2 solution, but notice how in question 2 I've got one continuous shaded portion. In question 3 I've got two separate shaded portions. So in question 3 I can keep them as two separate statements, but here in question 2 I can write it as one statement if I like. I can say that x is between minus 7 and 2. Both of my symbols are pointing leftwards. Question 4, I have to just multiply out again and do a bit more rearranging. And I'm going to end up with x squared minus 6x minus 7 is greater than or equal to 0, which I factorise and then sketch and then highlight the required portion. And then I end up with x is greater than or equal to 7 because I'm going to the right of that, and less than or equal to minus 1 because I'm going to the left of that. Okay, on then to question 5. Question 5 is slightly different to start off with. It's going to end up being a quadratic inequality in a bit, but I have to get there first. So remember, with these, the main thing is rational inequality. I don't want to make the mistake of taking the x minus 1 up and multiplying. The reason for that is inequalities, if I multiply across by a minus, I'm going to have to change the inequality symbol. I have no idea if this x minus 1 is positive or negative. So to get around that, I'll multiply both sides by an absolutely guaranteed positive, and I can do that by multiplying by x minus 1 squared. That's going to have the result of knocking out that denominator in any case. And then I'm going to multiply out. I've done the quick squaring method over here on the right hand side, but if you're not familiar with that, you can just multiply the brackets out as normal. That's fine too. This turned into a fairly nice quadratic. I'm going to factorise this. I'm going to draw my sketch. I'm going to highlight. So x is less than 3, x is greater than 1. Again, it's that one continuous segment, so what I can do if I want is I can write it as one statement. And if you're doing this, always put the smaller value on the left. Okay, on to question 6. There's a couple of ways of dealing with these modular inequalities. I like the squaring way, but if I'm going to do that, I like to have the modulus term on one side of the inequality by itself. So this minus 3, I'm not liking it at the moment. I'm going to bring it across the inequality. So this looks a bit nicer now. Now I'll square both sides. And again, I'm going to use the quick squaring method here. But again, if you're not sure of how to get straight from 2x plus 1 to this expanded form, then by all means, write out 2x plus 1 by 2x plus 1 and multiply it out in full. Okay, everything over to the left, because I need to have a 0 over here. And then what's quite nice here is I can divide across by 4. It's a positive number, so no problem doing that. And now to factorise. I'll draw my sketch. I'll highlight. And x is less than or equal to minus 5 and greater than or equal to 4.